14:58 a.m. and DAB, smart speaker, mobile app and LikerRadio.com.
This is Leica Radio.
Sky News Centre at 9. The Transport Secretary says this week's planned rail strikes will be disastrous and are unjustified.
Yesterday afternoon, as these negotiations were ongoing, Mick Lynch and the RMT walked out and went to a TUC rally instead. They're gunning for this strike, I'm afraid, and it's going to inconvenience millions of Brits.
Grant Shapps believes the walkouts over jobs, pay and conditions will be a huge mistake, but Labour's accused the government of wanting them to go ahead so it can feed off the division. The industrial actions planned at Network Rail and 13 train operators on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. The new head of the army says British troops must get ready to fight in Europe once again as the conflict in Ukraine continues. It comes after Boris Johnson returned from Kyiv, warning we need to prepare for a long war. Dozens of people have died and millions of homes are underwater following huge floods in northeastern India and Bangladesh. Troops were called in to rescue thousands of people who were left stranded. Dame Kelly Holmes has revealed she's gay, saying she'd hidden it for 34 years. The two-time Olympic gold medal winner admits keeping it a secret has impacted her mental health, but says she's now coming out on her own terms. Leicester head coach Steve Borthwick says there's a lot more to come from his team after becoming Rugby Union Premiership champions for the first time since 2013. A late Freddie Burns drop goal secured a 15-12 victory over Saracens in the final at Twickenham. The fly half says it's great to do it for the fans.
Players come and go, supporters always support the same club through their life and they're there through thick and thin on the Crumbie, so to give them this moment to be back where the club belongs, champions of England, it still feels weird saying it, but to be champions of England and give them that satisfaction, that reward for their support, it just means the world to everyone at Tigers.
And England's Matt Fitzpatrick is tied for the lead going into the final round of golf's US Open as he goes for his first major title. He's on 4 under par, level with American Will Zalatoris. That's the latest. I'm Charlie Maggs.
Work. It's changed a bit, hasn't it? Everyone's got to be a bit more flexible, including us, whether you need to switch on for work or just switch off at the end of a long, hard day. At Premier Inn, we've made sure you have everything you need, including a choice of flexible rates at over 800 UK locations, so you can always rest easy. Premier Inn. Rest easy. Only available to book at premierinn.com.
Leica Radio 1458 and Leica Gold 1035, a part of the Leica Group. Leica Radio Weather is brought to you by TravelUp.com. Our lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com or call 0207 580 5000.
The weather today, Sunday 19th of June 2022. Light rain showers and gentle breeze in London and surrounding areas. Top temperature 21 centigrade. Sunset is at 9:21 p.m.
Weather was brought to you by TravelUp.com. Our lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com.
Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Leica Radio.
Good morning and welcome to the 115th edition of Talking Points on Leica Radio with me, Keith Vaz. Thank you for joining me today on Sunday the 19th of June 2022. I hope you're having a great weekend. Today in the United Kingdom and America, it's Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all fathers, including me. Happy birthday this week to Abdul Jalil. This week, UK interest rates have risen further as the Bank of England attempts to stem the pace of soaring prices. Rates have increased from 1% to 1.25%, the fifth consecutive rise, pushing them to the highest level in 13 years. Mortgage payments will cost more. People in Pakistan have been asked to reduce the amount of tea they drink to keep the country's economy afloat. Sipping fewer cups a day would cut Pakistan's high import bills, according to Senior Minister Ahsan Iqbal. Pakistan is the world's largest importer of tea, buying in more than £501 million worth last year. On the programme today, we'll be talking to my special guest, starting in London, where I'll be chatting to an international leader in finance, Tarun Gulati. He'll be giving us tips on how to become a successful CEO. Then it's off to Harrow to talk to the Honorary Captain for the Royal Navy, Dudana Ansari, OBE, a former journalist and leader in the charity sector, engaging with British Muslim women. Finally, I will be talking to Davin Sanasi, the father of 15-month-old Evie, who is currently at Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, but who desperately needs a transplant. Evie has been diagnosed with the rare blood disorder macrophage activation syndrome, MAS, and desperately requires a stem cell transplant to treat her condition. But before all that, let's hear some music.
ਅੱਖ ਲੜ ਜਾਵੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਨੀਂਦ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਤੜਪਾਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਚੈਨ ਕਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਪਾਵੇ 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 ਅੱਖ ਲੜ ਜਾਵੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਨੀਂਦ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਤੜਪਾਵੇ ਦਿਲ ਚੈਨ ਕਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਪਾਵੇ ਪਾਵੇ ਪਾਵੇ
खन खन चूड़ी तेरी खन 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 के रे खन 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 के वेख वेख के चेहरा मेरा दिल ये धक धक धड़के रे दिल ये धक धक धड़के
तरसावे तेरे बिन ये रह ना पावे माही जो तू ना आवे 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 लड़ जावे सारी रात नींद ना आवे मैनू बड़ा तड़पावे दिल चैन कहीं ना पावे पावे पावे
लगी मेरी जान है तेरी एक लुक बादशाह के गाने के जैसे कोई हो देख के चंदा भी गया तुझे छुप बात मेरे सुन में भी बिल्कुल चुप लगी मेरी जान है तेरी एक लुक बादशाह के गाने के जैसे कोई हो देख के चंदा भी गया तुझे छुप बात मेरे सुन में भी बिल्कुल चुप
मैं बावली हूँ तेरी तू जान है ना मेरी बस प्यार ही है मांगा किस बात की है देरी बावली हूँ तेरी तू जान है ना मेरी बस प्यार ही है मांगा किस बात की है देरी
आजा चल तू मेरे साथ यारा चल तू ये रात कभी ना आवे आवे आवे
लड़ जावे सारी रात नींद ना आवे मैनू बड़ा तड़पावे दिल चैन कहीं ना पावे पावे पावे
Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I hope you enjoyed the music. My special guest today is an international leader in finance. He's a seasoned chief executive officer with an enviable track record of delivering creative solutions to complex issues in banking and financial services. He's been a global leader in companies such as Citibank, HSBC and ING. He was part of an elite group of global leaders for HSBC, selected from over 14,000 applicants worldwide, and he has provided key strategies to a number of diverse organizations. He served on the board of 35 different companies from the UK through to Singapore and even Botswana. He joins me this morning from London. Good morning, Tarun Gulati.
Very good morning to you, Keith, and good wishes to your listeners of Leica Radio. Thank you for that very, very comprehensive introduction.
Tarun, being a global leader in the current financial setup must be quite difficult. With a long and distinguished career career, you must have seen many financial challenges. How would you rate the one that we're facing at the moment?
I think this is perhaps the worst crisis, only because the last one, which was a financial crisis in 2008, 2009, was more financial, driven by financial institutions that could be plugged, and the central banks sort of came in and intervened, and things are today looking better. But currently, we are going to a stage where, well, we know there's a war ongoing. Inflation is at an all-time high. Interest rates are going only in one direction, which is north. And indeed, the world, the cost of living crisis is obviously affecting individuals. So navigating through these choppy waters of the disturbed world order today, leaders must take great care not to crash on the rocks of foolhardy ambitions or become becalmed in foggy vision. So I think it's treading with care and indeed difficult times.
Now, you work for a lot of your life in banking, and that's one of your great expertise, as well as being the deputy chairman of a listed bank. Do you think that bankers come in for unfair criticism by the public? You've been talking about global issues just now, but actually the bottom line is people have to make sure that they're able to pay their mortgages. Why do bankers always seem to come up on top, irrespective of how it affects the financial services affect individuals?
That's a very good question, and I think it's a little unfair to sort of pass the buck on only to the bankers. Banks, I think, are a necessary engine for growth. I mean, 70 to 80% of the world relies on their SMEs to sort of move their GDP and the growth, and banks play a key role. And banks indeed are rewarded for the risk that they take. There's a cost of capital employed, and indeed, in the past, bankers would be flouting their wealth, and we've all seen and heard and perhaps even participated to some extent. But I think they come out on top because ultimately the purpose of a bank is to make money. They sort of get deposits from you and me and then deploy that capital wisely to the extent possible. So they get rewarded for the risk. And indeed, there are those who might think, look, banks are taking an unnecessary share. And these are indeed difficult times, and getting loans are getting more difficult or credit. But I think banks are doing their bit. Indeed, there's scope to do more, certainly.
Now, you've been a CEO of an international finance company, quite a few. Is it quite difficult to manage organizations that cross boundaries, that deal with different regulators and also different financial architecture? How have you been able to cope with this?
Well, firstly, I certainly have a passion for people. So if you are passionate about people and you realize that people bring the business and you're there because of customers who are indeed, again, individuals you deal with, and you're looking there to find solutions. These are tangible solutions that actually resolve a problem, not just painkillers. Once you find those solutions, you'll find more customers coming in and they're having fun and actually enjoying the relationship. It's tough because different regulators come in and they have different norms. But if you have a good dashboard, good team of people, even brighter than you around you, it's feasible. So you got to keep an eye on the ball and sort of delegate wisely, but not take the eye off the ball.
Final question based on what you just said. You were head of Premier Banking at HSBC. You handle assets of over $40 billion US. That's $900 million of income. How do you manage to control something like that? I mean, you must rely quite heavily on your team, don't you?
Most certainly. That was in the UK. And indeed, I was also at the same time appointed as head of the International Bank, where it had a global remit. I also sat on the Global Customer Committee. You're very correct. You can't do it all alone, and you got to rely on people. There were 600 branches of HSBC those days, 950 odd managers, and they were actually directly controlled by the area directors and the regional directors. So you got to have a good relationship with people, find solutions, revamp the product and proposition, and make sure it works for the customers, because ultimately you only make money if the customers are happy. So you, as I said earlier, customer service, a customer-driven approach will get you everywhere.
This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to Tarun Gulati, the international finance leader. When we come back, we're going to ask him for some tips. Any of you Leica listeners wanting to go into banking, let's hear from one of the trendsetters in banking. Join us after the break.
Tell your father how much you love him. Messages via the Leica Radio mobile app now.
Leica Radio.
सस्ती से सस्ती फ्लाइट्स और हॉलिडे पैकेज चाहिए तो 24 घंटे 7 दिन किसी भी समय ट्रैवल हब का नंबर मिलाइए फॉर क्रूज, टेलर मेड हॉलिडे, होटल बुकिंग्स एंड हनीमून पैकेजेस हमसे सस्ता कहीं नहीं मिल सकता. कॉल ट्रैवल हब 24/7 on 0208 782 8833 or visit travelhubltd.co.uk.
Travel Hub, best service with unbeatable price.
At all protected.
Visit travelhubltd.co.uk.
ढूंढ रहा हूँ इंडिया में सोन सनकी नहार गौरी सांवल लंबी चौड़ी कैंड जहे मुटिया
लड़की देसी स्टाइल की दुनिया फैन हो स्माइल की मिस्टर सिंह बनेगी वो और जोड़ी वर्सेटाइल सी.
शुरू होने जा रहा है नया शो स्वयंवर मीका दी वोटी इस रविवार 19 जून रात 8 बजे से सिर्फ उत्सव भारत पर, जो उपलब्ध है स्काई चैनल 704, वर्जिन मीडिया 802 और यप टीवी पर.
Celebrate all your special moments with Haldirams. Your most loved Haldiram sweets are made in the UK. Now available at Sainsbury's and Asian grocery stores across the country. You can also order online at www.haldiramuk.com.
Custom make your diamond engagement ring from a very vast selection at Lakha. Breathtaking royal antique look and Vilandi diamond jewelry at Lakha. Trade in your old unusable jewelry for new ones at Lakha. Lakha Jewelry makes a statement of your individuality. 16 to 20 Ealing Road, Wembley. Call 020-8795-7200.
Get ready for the voice that has captured a million hearts. Dairy Valley presents in association with event stars Zubin Nautiyal live in concert for the first time in the UK. On the 25th of June at the Morningside Arena, Leicester, and the 26th of June over Arena, Wembley in London. Get your tickets now from AXS and leicesterarena.co.uk or call Videorama on 0208 907 0116. Promoted by Rock On Music.
Lying in the sun by the pool with a good book. Bliss. Can you believe I used to dread this? Varicose veins made me too self-conscious to wear shorts or swimwear. But Vein Centre offer modern treatments for varicose and thread veins with clinics all over the UK. I was in and out the same day with no recovery time needed. I finally feel confident in my skin, so I can enjoy, well, this. Visit veincentre.com today.
We just do veins.
Hounslow! You can now enjoy mango flavoured ice cream at Scoop Herb, 159 Hamworth Road, Hounslow. Scoop Herb natural flavour ice cream made of actual fruits and natural ingredients. Special opening offer, buy one scoop and get one free.
Amazing news for Sufi music lovers. Samara Events UK brings you Ek Sham, Queen of Sufi music legend Apida Parveen ji ke naam, by the sensational voice Tehseen Sakina ji on Saturday 30th July at Harrow Arts Centre, London. For seat bookings, please call 07850 742 143. That is 07850 742 143. Or visit harrowarts.com. Meet your partners Leica Radio and Leica Gold.
London's popular stations, Leica Radio and Leica Gold, are now available on the new Leica Radio mobile app. Download it and listen to both stations wherever you are. The personalities that matter with Keith Vaz on Talking Points.
Leica Radio.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to Tarun Gulati, the international financial leader. Tarun, when we all first arrived in this country, and you're almost of similar age to me, Asians found it very difficult in getting access to finance. Now, banks are actually throwing themselves at members of the Asian community because they're so heavily involved in professions like property. What's changed has made this happen? And does it surprise you that after all these years, people like you, someone with such a huge portfolio in banking, you're not actually owning and running your own bank?
I'll come to the last point first. I actually have a deck ready. The pandemic slowed me down, but I do intend to open a bank. Not a pure digital version, and not necessarily a lot of bricks and mortar, but watch this space. You're very correct. The Asians are being wooed now. And indeed, some banks in the past had even set up outfits focused on Asians. I think Asians are by nature entrepreneurial, hardworking, have a passion for what they do, and banks ultimately need those sort of individuals banking with them. So that's the first part. So I think banks are indeed, as you correctly highlighted, now looking at Asians with less of a jaundiced eye and more as partners that they want to be having as customers.
I was looking at the number of countries that you've been involved in your very amazing life. You've managed assets in India, Hong Kong, Thailand, Qatar, Dubai, Bahrain, Mauritius, and of course in the United Kingdom. Which of those countries did you find the easiest to do business in, and which was the most difficult?
I think Thailand, and I enjoyed Thailand and Hong Kong a lot because Hong Kong was the head office of HSBC those days. It was known as the bank, and it was punching its weight very heavily in the region. Thailand was good fun because we need to have fun while we're working, and you got to enjoy yourselves, and that was a place where I enjoyed. I think Qatar was a bit difficult in terms of managing the individuals and their aspirations, but I actually made more money than the combined businesses of the bank in the region. So you got to find a way of dealing with obstacles and actually treat them as opportunities, which I did.
A couple of final questions.
Yes, please.
One of your earlier roles was as the sales and marketing manager for Philips at Xerox in India. In fact, you launched Xerox word processors in India. Marketing was very important in those days. Do you think social media has now taken over and people don't need to market in the traditional ways, their banking and financial services? You just do a tweet.
Well, you're right. And indeed, a lot of marketing has moved on the social media, but I still believe in the old handshake. And indeed, the face-to-face encounter is the moment of truth where, most things are you're delivering a service or a proposition. A lot of them may be intangible. A service is an intangible, and you only can tangibilize it, I think, if you are having a face-to-face encounter. So whilst the social media is good in bringing somebody through the door, but making that relationship sticky and staying with you is important. So the face-to-face cannot be totally done with. That's why some of these entities that are just relying on social media may not get all that they could unless they have a bit of brick and mortar sort of a presence.
There are lots of people in financial services, either in jobs themselves or they know someone who's in a job in financial services or banking, listening to this program at this moment, men and women. Give us a tip, a top tip. If you want to go into banking and you've just left university or just doing your final degree and getting your marks, what is your top tip for someone who wants to go into banking in 2022?
Banking is a very broad word, and I'll try and allude to that in a broad brush way. But banking, as you know, is disintermediated. There are fintechs and other aspects to banking that other entities are now dealing with and finding solutions. So if anybody wants to get into banking or further their career, I think firstly you need to build your personal brand. So banking is where, what aspect of banking do you want to be involved in? You should approach the people that are relevant to that and have a deep sense of passion, belief, and faith in yourself. So if anybody can, you can is important. Push the envelope, go the extra mile. And as I hinted earlier, showcase what you can actually bring to the table, tangible solutions, not just short-term sort of painkillers. And the door is not getting any wider. So there are others trying to go through. So make your way through, and you got to hustle in, but success will be yours.
Tarun Gulati, it's been fascinating talking to you about your international career, and watch this space. There could be even more developments in the life of Tarun Gulati. But we always ask our special guests to choose a song that means something to them and dedicate it to someone special. Which song would you like to choose, and who would you like to dedicate it to?
Without revealing my age, I'll go back in time and refer to a film called Arth. And this song goes back to 1982, sung by Jagjit Singh. It goes with Jhuki Jhuki Si Nazar Bekarar Hai Ke Nahi, Daba Daba Sa Sahi Dil Mein Pyar Hai Ke Nahi. I would like to dedicate my song to, I'll start with my son Dhruv, my daughter Aisha, my co-founder in a certain entity, Preeti, and all my friends who have helped me in my journey so far. And indeed, thank you very, very much, Keith, for having me on the program today. And my very best wishes to all listeners of Laika Radio.
Let's hear Tarun Gulati's song.
झुकी झुकी सी नजर बेकरार है कि नहीं, झुकी झुकी सी नजर बेकरार है कि नहीं दबा दबा सा सही दिल में प्यार है कि नहीं झुकी झुकी सी नजर अपने दिल की जवां धड़कनों को गिन के बता तू अपने दिल की जवां धड़कनों को गिन के बता मेरी तरह तेरा दिल बेकरार है कि नहीं दबा दबा सा सही दिल में प्यार है कि नहीं झुकी झुकी सी नजर वो पल के जिसमें मोहब्बत जवान होती है वो पल के जिसमें मोहब्बत जवान होती है उसे एक पल का तुझे इंतजार है कि नहीं दबा दबा सा सही दिल में प्यार है कि नहीं झुकी झुकी सी नजर ठुकरा रहा हूँ दुनिया को तेरी उम्मीद पे ठुकरा रहा हूँ दुनिया को तुझे भी अपने पे ये एतबार है कि नहीं दबा दबा सा सही दिल में प्यार है कि नहीं झुकी झुकी सी नजर
Like a Radio.
Flight updates are brought to you by TravelUp.com. Flights, hotels and holidays.
Let's go for a flight update. All flights are as scheduled, but please check with your flight operators before heading to the airport.
Flight updates were brought to you by TravelUp.com. Lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com. Call 0207 580 5000.
Like a Radio.
Traffic and travel.
I'm Gary King. The M4 heading into Heathrow Airport on the Spur Road looking very slow at the moment. Limehouse, the A13 on Commercial Road, still closed westbound. Follows an overturned car and recovery work between Saltwell Street and the West India Dock Road. At Wandsworth, the A214 on Trinity Road looking very busy through those roadworks just near to Nottingham Road. We've got minor delays at the moment on the Central Line because of cancellations. And that's the latest traffic and travel.
Oh, come on. Ready? Sure you've packed everything in there? Yes, Mum. Have you packed? I've got my Sultan, deodorant, toothpaste, perfume, skincare and makeup. Wow. When's your flight? In 4 hours. 3 days and 2 weeks on Friday.
At Boots, we're packed with unmissable deals on all your holiday essentials. So this year, summer better be ready. Shop in store and online today. Boots, with you for life. Selected stores, subject to availability.
This is Leica Radio.
Flight Path Travel. We are travel experts for flights, hotels, tours and offering the cheapest COVID testing at only £6.99. Call now on 0203 463 7788.
Custom make your diamond engagement ring from a very vast selection at Lakha. Breathtaking royal antique look and Vilandi diamond jewelry at Lakha. Trade in your old unusable jewelry for new ones at Lakha. Lakha Jewelry makes a statement of your individuality. 16 to 20 Ealing Road, Wembley. Call 020-8795-7200.
जैमिन के अचार स्वाद में है मजेदार. सुनते हो? जैमिन के कुछ अचार ले आना.
जैमिन की तो बड़ी वैरायटी है. कौन-कौन से लाऊं?
बस मिक्स पिकल, पंजाबी मैंगो, स्वीट लाइम, आंबा हल्दी, गौर केरी और आम का मुरब्बा.
डार्लिंग कोई गुड न्यूज़ है क्या?
शर्म करो. ये सब अचार मेरी मम के फेवरेट हैं और वो हमारे घर रहने आ रही हैं.
क्या?
जैमिन के अचार, जैमिन के पापड़, जैमिन के मुखवा.
Beyond Bollywood is back. Written, choreographed and directed by Rajiv Goswami and music by legendary musicians Salim Suleiman at the Peacock Theatre, London from the 24th of August to the 3rd of September. Book your tickets now. Call 0207 863 8000 or visit sadlerswells.com.
Hounslow! You can now enjoy mango-flavoured ice cream at Scoop Herb, 159 Hamworth Road, Hounslow. Scoop Herb natural flavour ice cream made of actual fruits and natural ingredients. Special opening offer, buy one scoop and get one free.
The one thing COVID did give us, digital transformation. If you're serious about digital growth and would like a tactical approach to your digital marketing, then remember the name Harty Hanks. With over 20 years experience and a proven track record, we have the talent and know-how to deliver online success. Harty Hanks, experts in consultancy, branding, design, e-commerce, search and social. Call Harty Hanks today on 020 8827 1600 or visit hhdigital.uk. Harty Hanks, your partners for digital success.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Welcome back. This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio. My next guest is a journalist, charity worker and honorary captain for the Royal Navy, Dudana Ansari OBE, who joined the BBC as a presenter from her very first day in World Services. She never looked back. During her time, she produced and presented many series and interviewed key figures. She also started presenting on British-based Asian channels, interviewing numerous Bollywood stars, heads of state, politicians and others. In 2006, she led the British Asian Muslim Women Engagement Charity, which was initially intended to cater for only 100 women, but by 2012 grew into 9,000. For this amazing work, she was awarded an OBE by the Queen. On the 1st of April 2019, she was promoted and honoured by the Queen to act as an honorary captain of the Royal Navy. What a breadth of experience. She joins me this morning from Harrow in North London. Good morning, Dudana Ansari OBE.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you very much for inviting me and such a lavish introduction, and I feel very humbled.
Dudana, what led you to go into broadcasting in the first place?
No idea, because I was married at the age of 16, came over from Pakistan, and thinking that I am just kind of going into another place, not even knew about the cultural difference. then I had a daughter who was born partially deaf. So I thought that was it. My life was completely finished now. This is it. I'm going to simply just look after her and I'm going to grow alongside my daughter. For the next 10 years, that's all I kept on doing. In my school days, I used to present in the assemblies, singing and dancing as well. But when I came to England, I was told that you come from a good family, you're not supposed to sing, you're not supposed to, dancing was something which was not very, I was doing it all the time, but it was something that, no, you've got to behave like an Asian girl now. And a girl became a woman. So for 10 years, I had no idea. All I was doing is making sure that my kids were okay, bringing them up with the best of my abilities.
Now, Dudana, it's very clear from day one at the BBC, you started to make a huge difference. You've interviewed heads of states, politicians, celebrities, all kinds of people. Give me one person who you enjoyed interviewing the most.
I think I would pinpoint Dilip Kumar, Yusuf Khan, the legend of Bollywood, who I always had admired. And when I saw him first time ever, I was trying to show that I know it hasn't affected me. But to be honest, I was nervous. I was very overwhelmed. I was extremely happy. His scholarly, the way he used to speak on the screen and off the screen, I think that really, really touched my heart, and the way he made me feel so comfortable. And all of a sudden, he became one of the characters which he played in Ram or Sham, if you remember. So I think Yusuf Khan, Dilip Kumar was somebody I would always recall.
Now, when you first went into broadcasting, it was at the World Service, where, of course, you dealt with many, many ethnic minority people. You then crossed over into mainstream BBC work. When you look to the BBC and you look at it, it's one of our greatest institutions. Do you think that the Asian community have made enough of a breakthrough as far as mainstream broadcasting is concerned?
Well, I think they're doing a great job. They've done amazing work. They're kind of into reorganizations nowadays. But maybe they could do a little better. We've got Michelle Hussain. We've got so many names in the BBC who you can see that they're coming from the ethnic minority background. But we could certainly do better. But as in working in the Bush House, it was 42 languages working there. So you were simply just working with all sorts of all-colored people from all sorts of backgrounds you were working with. So I didn't really feel it at that time. But I think now it'd be nice if we can see some more people, some more genders, some more coming from, even from people from underprivileged backgrounds living in the UK. So it'll be nice to see. But I think BBC has done really, really great, and it has given me such a platform. And wherever I go, people still recognize me as a BBC person. So it definitely has, the BBC has played a great role in, you talk about myself.
This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to the broadcaster, journalist, charity worker and Royal Navy Honorary Captain Dudana Ansari, OBE, about her remarkable life. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to her a little bit more about the charity that led to her, in the end, going to Buckingham Palace. Join us after the break.
नैन सितारे है चांद सा मुखड़ा क्या कहना उसका आफरीन दावत में जैसे हो शाही टुकड़ा उसके जैसी ना कोई नाज़नीन शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बंधन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठी है दुल्हन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बंधन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठी है दुल्हन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है शादी घर में उसके आने से जैसे चल के आई है खुशकिस्मती सारी महफिल की वो जान बनी है क्या कहना उसका आफरीन मुफलिस के दिल का अरमान बनी है उसके जैसी ना कोई नाज़नी शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बंधन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठी है दुल्हन के वही तो मेरी स्वीट हार्ट है
On Talking Points, Leica.
Welcome back. This is Talking Points with Keith Vass on Leica Radio. I'm talking to Dudana Ansari, OBE, journalist, charity worker, and honorary captain for the Royal Navy. You were asked to lead a charity which initially was supposed to only engage with and educate 100 British Asian Muslim women. It then reached 9,000 at its high point. It was called EMS. Were you surprised at the way in which that charity grew? You were very much a part of that.
Indeed, I was. I was still working with like lots of Asian channel networks here. So I used to present on television as well. And one of the televisions sent me to the earthquake zone in Kashmir in 2005. And this is when one of the House of Lords member saw that I could lead that project. And I left the BBC, so I was again thrown into a very deep end. And this is how it all started when lots of women who were supposed to be in that project said, oh, we do not need this project. We don't want to learn English. We've lived here for the last 30, 40 years. Our Goshtwala speak our language. Our tailor speaks our language. And if I have to go to my GP, I can just simply take my daughter off school. That was the whole idea in the beginning to say, hang on, you've lived in this country, but let's come and play some sort of a main role into the society, into the community, even to help your children. And this is what I feel very privileged that I was chosen for that project. And gradually it became like more than 9,000 women living in this country. When you feel that, my God, do you really need to see those people who cannot speak a word of English? Yes, we still do not have those people. Lots of women didn't even go to McDonald's. So I feel extremely privileged that I was chosen to do that work.
And then because of your incredible work and the success of the charity, you were awarded an OBE by Her Majesty the Queen. What was special about that particular day when you went to receive your OBE? Who did you get it from and what was said to you?
Keith, it was like a Cinderella. It was like a cartoon that I used to look at, full books in my school library. I thought I was one of those characters. When I was sent this letter for an OBE, I didn't even know the meaning of an OBE at that time, to be honest with you. When I went to the palace, it was like a dream come true, and it was given by Her Majesty. She just simply looked into my eyes. I mean, I can never forget those amazing, shiny blue eyes, said to me, thank you very much, Dudana, for what you have done for this country. And thank you very much for coming to this country. What did you do before? And my son said to me, I mean, everybody was just going there, receiving their reward and shaking hands. What was she talking to you for that long? I am still amazed. I still feel that I haven't done enough. Keith, honestly, this is how I feel, that I think I've got a long way to go and there's so much to be done.
But there was more to come. Not only did she look into your eyes and say thank you, you were then made an honorary captain for the Royal Navy. First of all, can you swim? And secondly, have you been on any of those Royal Navy frigates? How on earth did that come about?
No idea again. Again, I would say that I was invited to an Asian event, and this is where I saw lots of people sitting in Navy uniform, and I was wondering what's happening. So they were admiring my dress, and they were talking to me. They were very much interested in my life, and throughout that year, they kept on inviting me to some lavish dinners and amazing events. And one day, a letter came through simply like, oh my God, what is this letter now? And I looked at it, and it was the first Sea Lord of that time said, I'm going to take the consent of Her Majesty. Would you give your consent, Rosanna, to become a lieutenant commander? And I looked around, and there was nobody there. I was like so excited that I simply went quiet. This is how it all happened. And 2 years later, I was made commander. Now, by the grace of God, I'm working as an honorary captain, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to make a difference in people's lives. So I'm very grateful to the Royal Navy. I found my best friends in the Royal Navy. So it's the most amazing and prestigious place that I'm in.
Dudana Ansari OBE, Honorary Captain of the Royal Navy, thank you so much for joining us on Leica Radio and sharing your story with us. It gives us a lot of inspiration, especially the women who are listening to this program this morning. A lot of inspiration and a lot of hope for the future. Thank you so much for what you've done.
Thank you so much, Keith. I would like to thank the Talking Points and Leica Radio for choosing me to speak to me. And thank you very much for giving me your precious time, Keith.
Wish your father a happy Father's Day. Message us directly from the Leica Radio mobile app now.
Leica Radio. Mom, have you bought some of those delicious noodles?
You mean Coca, the king of noodles? Coca means delicious. Variety of flavors available in Coca Packet, Coca Cup and Coca Bowl noodles. Suitable for vegetarians and halal approved. The king of noodles, Coca noodles, packets, cups and bowls, now available everywhere in the UK.
London, are you ready? Broadway City Gwadar presents for the first time ever special performances by Ustad Shafkat Amanat Ali Khan, Arif Lohar, Sanam Marvi, Bilal Saeed, Farhan Saeed, Aima Beg, Humayma Malik and Sain Zahoor. All under one roof on Sunday the 14th of August at OVO Arena, Wembley, London. Tickets from £15. Book now at ovoarena.co.uk. For more information, call 0785 0742 143. That's 0785 0742 143. Media partners Leica Radio and Leica Gold. Brought to you by Samara Events UK.
Your dream holiday will be departing soon. Please make your way to the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome on board. Sit back and enjoy your flight to paradise.
We've missed these sounds, so let us book your next dream holiday. Call Citybond Holidays today on 0207 290 0616. We are ATOL protected.
Hounslow! You can now enjoy mango-flavoured ice cream at Scoop Herb, 159 Hamworth Road, Hounslow. Scoop Herb natural flavour ice cream made of actual fruit and natural ingredients. Special opening offer, buy one scoop and get one free.
Grace Entertainment presents the return of Sunidhi Chauhan live in the UK. On Sunday, the 10th of July 2022 at the Eventim Apollo, London. For tickets, contact Videorama on 0208 907 0116 or via Ticketmaster and Eventim. Sunidhi Chauhan UK Tour. Radio partner, Leica Radio. Bring on the biggest blockbuster this summer. Viacom 18 Studio and Dharma Productions present Jug Jug Jio, a family reunion of Varun Dhawan, Kiera Advani, Anil Kapoor and Neetu Kapoor with full of surprises.
प्रिया का सबसे बड़ा फेस्टिवल पता है कौन सा है? कौन सा होता है? घरवाली। क्यों? क्योंकि उसे बार-बार मनाना पड़ता है। कल्ले रहना मनु अच्छा लगदा। घर में ना कभी तलाक हुआ है और ना कभी तलाक होगा।
Releasing in cinemas on June the 24th.
The personalities that matter with Keith Vaz on Talking Points.
Leica Radio.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vass on Talking Points on Leica Radio. Our final story, I'm afraid, is a very sad one. It's the nightmare of any parent to have a child who is very ill. Our next guest is the father of 15-month-old Evie Sanasi, who is currently at Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, but needs a transplant. Evie has been diagnosed with a rare blood disorder, macrophage activation syndrome, MAS, and requires a stem cell transplant to treat her condition. Without this match, there is no hope for this child. The search for Evie's perfect match is made much more difficult due to her unique genetic makeup. Patients who are white have a 72% chance of finding the best match from an unrelated donor, but this drops to 37% for patients from ethnic minority backgrounds like Evie. Let's talk to Devan Sanasi, who is Chief Technology Officer of a music technology company, but is currently spending much of his time at the hospital with his wife, Ruku Sanasi, to try and save the life of their child, Evie. He joins me this morning from Great Ormond Street in London. Good morning, Devan.
Good morning, Keith.
First of all, I can tell you that the thoughts and prayers of all of us at Leica Radio are with little Evie and indeed with yourself and your wife. When did you discover that Evie was seriously ill? What were the symptoms that made you worried?
Well, we discovered that she was ill back in October 2021. She started developing a fever and a rash, which could be one of many things, and it didn't worry us too much because that's fairly common for a small child. But then it persisted for quite some time. We were in Mauritius at the time on a family holiday. So we went to hospital and where they did blood tests, and those blood tests revealed that she was very, very sick. And our journey has just continued along that path since then until we find ourselves in a situation where all the options have been exhausted and we find ourselves requiring stem cell transplant.
What exactly does she need at the moment?
Well, sadly, I'll be quite honest with you that I just had the news that we don't really have any choices because we have to progress now with what is an imperfect match or a parent as a donor, which is only a 50% match, just because of the timelines that we have available. So all we can really do now, and the reason I'm talking to you, is to improve the chances for other children, other people, not just children, adults who have got similar conditions or cancers that are curable with stem cell transplants, but they simply don't have a good match. Like Evie does not have a good match to go forward with. And if she did have a good match to go forward with, her prognosis and future would be much better than what she has right now. And yeah, I want people who are, who are South Asians, Indians, all different types of South Asians, all ethnic minorities, to consider getting onto the register, because by getting onto the register, you give people a chance. And, Evie's potential donor needed to be on the register a year ago. Because when you find out that you've got this diagnosis, quite often you don't have time. There isn't time. Stem cell transplant is a last resort, and it's when everything else has been exhausted and you're in a critical situation. So really, you need to be on that register beforehand. So we're still going ahead with this because I want other people to have a better chance in future who are South Asian.
The key thing you're saying today, despite the grief and concern that you are going through at this moment, because it must be a very, very torturous time for both you and Ruku, is to get people on that register who might be a match for someone in the future.
Yes.
This is the key message that you're sending across to listeners of Leica Radio. Is that right?
Exactly, because I have sat down in the middle of some conversations where I'm being told as a parent that these are the options and they're all bad. Because of the situation that we find ourselves in with the match. It's just made it worse. And it just makes me think, well, it would be better for people who are South Asian in the future to not have to suffer in the same way. So I think that's really important.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We know you must be going through absolute hell. You, your wife, and the family, and our thoughts are prayers with you, your wife, Ruku, your grandparents, Vel and Karasi Sanasi, and the maternal grandparents of little Evie, Dan and Sarojini. I hope that everything goes successfully, but in the meantime, we are with you at this critical time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you for having me on, and and hopefully we can spread this message that people could get onto the register.
बंदा तो रेडी है, तेरा ही कैदी है, समझो तुम भी जो बात आंखों से कैदी है। बंदा तो रेडी है, तेरा ही कैदी है, समझो तुम भी जो बात आंखों से कैदी है। तेरी हाँ दे दे, मेरी जान ले ले, मेरी जान ना दे मुझे बहाने। सजन बड़े सेंटी, सजन बड़े सेंटी, सजन बड़े सेंटी, सजन बड़े सेंटी।
आज पियाजी उड़े विदेशी सेंट लगा के, हाँ सेंट लगा के। हो बात फरेबी चाट जलेबी मीठा मीठा बोले बेबी मिंट चबा के, हाँ मिंट चबा के।
ओ शक्ल बकी सी नजर बचा के, बाज बुलावे सुन ले थोड़ी आजा। भरी हुई है चलेगी अब तो, आजा बेबी भुला के सुस्ती आजा। तेरी हाँ दे दे, मेरी जान ले ले, मेरी जान ना दे मुझे बहाने। सज्जन बड़े सेंटी, सजन बड़े सेंटी, सज्जन बड़े सेंटी, हो सज्जन बड़े सेंटी।
Keith Vaz on Talking Points. Leica.
That's it for this week. Time's up. My thanks to Tarun Gulati, to Dana Ansari, OBE, and Davin Sanasi. Special thanks to my producer Rupi and, of course, my editor Adam. Last week, I played Here Comes the Sun as one of the records chosen by our guests. Well, that's exactly what happened this week. I tried to keep the word sun somewhere in my dedication. To end today's program, let's have a spin onto one of my favorites, Sunny Sunny by Himanish Kohli and Rahul Preet, which has had 257.6 million views on YouTube. Why not take your dads out for a meal today? Just a small hint. Please stay tuned to Leica Radio for the rest of the day. Sheena will be on after the news with her Sunday sensations. This has been Talking Points on Leica Radio with Keith Vaz, broadcasting from London. Have a great Sunday.
पे पानी का शो आजा मेरी बाहों में girl what you waiting for तुझको मैं लेके चलूं फिर प्यारी सी यॉट पे हो जाएंगे हम कल्ली मैलिबू के शॉट पे तू है पानी 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 पानी